In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful gingerbread wreath. To begin, place 120 grams of unsalted butter into a saucepan, along with 175 grams of light brown sugar and 125 grams of golden syrup. Place it over a low heat until it all melts together. You don't want it to boil here. And then immediately remove it from the heat. Leave it to cool for 5 minutes. Meanwhile, in a mixing bowl, place 375 grams of plain all-purpose flour, along with 3 teaspoons of ground ginger, half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon of mixed spice, and 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. Whisk the dry ingredients together and then make a well in the centre. Pour the butter and sugar mixture into the centre of the bowl with the flour and then crack in 1 egg. And then quickly beat everything together until it comes together to form a dough. The dough will be quite sticky at this point, but don't worry about that. Just wrap it up in some cling wrap or parchment paper and then place it in the fridge to relax and until it firms up. This will take anywhere between 30 minutes and 1 hour, but you can also make this the day before if you prefer. Once your dough is ready, take it from the fridge, unwrap it, and place it onto a sheet of parchment paper. Lightly flour the top and flour your rolling pin and then roll it out to 4 to 5 millimeters in thickness. This is going to be to make the wreath part, so we want it a little bit thicker because we need it to be nice and robust. I'm using 2 cake tins, a larger one and a smaller one to cut mine, or you could also use a large plate and a small plate. It's entirely up to you, and just use whatever you can find that is suitable for the job. Place your cake tin or plate onto the dough and then cut around the outside. Remove the rest of the dough, I'm going to use that later, and then cut out the middle section. Once that's done, slide it onto a baking tray ready to bake. Next, press the dough back together into a ball, and then I like to cut it in half because it's easier to work with in smaller pieces. Roll it out to 3 to 4 millimeters in thickness, a little bit thinner than the wreath, and then use your desired cutters until you've cut through all of the dough. I'm using a combination of stars and snowflakes for mine. Now that they're all cut, place them onto a baking tray lined with parchment paper and bake them in the oven at 170 degrees Celsius fan for 11 minutes. 11 minutes for the smaller ones, and the wreath part might need just a little bit longer. I cooked mine for 14 minutes. At this stage, when they come out of the oven, they will be a little bit soft, so you just want to leave them on the baking tray for 5 minutes to cool before transferring them to a cooling rack to cool completely. You will also have a lot of gingerbread to bake, so you might need to do it in a couple of batches. Next, while your gingerbread is cooling down, we're going to make a very simple icing. And for that, I'm literally just using icing sugar and water. And I'm not going to give specific quantities because you need to mix it to your desired thickness. I like it quite thick so I can pipe it in thin lines, but you do it how you like yours. So I'm using just the powdered sugar and water. Mix it until it's nice and smooth, and then place it into piping bags. So this is the fun bit where we can get nice and creative. We need to start icing the gingerbread cookies. Pipe on whatever patterns that you desire. Also, if you want to add some colour, I'm using a little bit of green and a little bit of red, so I just separate off some of my icing and then mix it with the chosen food colouring. Once all the decorating is done, it's time to assemble the wreath. But before we start that, we need to make the glue that's going to hold it all together, and that is just a very simple caramel. Place some caster sugar into a pan, and then place it over a medium heat until it melts to a light golden colour. Remove it from the heat and then it's ready to use. Take pieces of your gingerbread. You can plan this out if you want, or you can just go random like I am, and then place a bit of caramel on the back of each piece of gingerbread and then stick it to the wreath. It will set within seconds. So also that means you've got to work quickly because the caramel will set. And if it does set too quickly, don't worry, just make up another batch of caramel. Also make sure you're being really careful here because if you get it on your fingers, it does burn, so just be extra careful with this. So that's how I make my Christmas gingerbread wreath. I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.